Check that out. Thanks to Model Y Mike for hooking me up with the Tesla Semi. And also thank you for the box, because the box it came in is just tall enough to lift up the Blackmagic to the point that it is now tall enough for me to look actually how I was trying to make me look with my Blackmagic on the desk setup. And I couldn't find the right box size for the longest time. And thankfully the Tesla Semi package is the key to that solution, which is kind of weird. But anyway, had a bit of food for thought for some of you Taylosive Talks fans to nibble on today. It was a conversation me and my wife were having recently because, of course, there are tons of streaming services out these days. There's Disney Plus, HBO Max, Netflix, Hulu, Peacock, and soon there's going to be Paramount Plus, and probably 8 billion others that I glossed over. But we were talking a lot about how we just kind of don't think individually any of them are very expensive. It's just that when you take the approach of signing up for anything that has a show, and I do think it's kind of an interesting debate to think about, to imagine for a second, when does a service justify paying for it monthly versus when does a service not justify the cost? And we know a lot of people in our personal life that do justify the cost for certain services but not others. It all comes down to what your preferred shows are and if they have the shows you're interested in. And of course, it's annoying because they always start out these services so cheap, right? They always get you in and try to get you hooked on these shows at a low price, and then every year they're going to raise the price by $1. Before you know it, we're all going to be hooked on shows, and our entertainment is going to be expecting a certain amount of shows that we've fallen in love with over the years. But all of these services are probably going to be an extra $10, $15 more than they are right now by 2030 or something like that. So they're going to have their hands deep in our pockets. And me and my wife were saying, what if, because there's a lot of shows between Discovery Plus and HBO Max and Apple, just kidding, not Apple TV Plus. I haven't found anything good there. But on Netflix as well, there's a lot of great shows here and there. But imagine if these services had an option. Maybe they don't advertise it very much. Maybe they make it a backdoor feature on their website. But just imagine for a sec if they had an option to let you buy a lifetime supply of that service. Maybe lifetime's a bit of an exaggeration, just an absurd amount of time, right? Because there are services out there like Disney Plus, I think, does it, and Discovery Plus does it, where you can pay for a year and you can save money through the service by paying for 12 months worth instead of paying for it monthly. And we're just like, what if you took that a step forward? Maybe instead of a year, you could pay for 10 years in advance. Or why stop there? Let's just do 30. And the real question is, if the service is willing to let you buy 30 years of that platform, why not just let it be a lifetime supply? Just say like, okay, if you give us this one-time fee, this one-time purchase, you will have access to this service for the rest of your life, and then your account would be deemed very, very special, I guess, because if someone else took ownership of that account, like you died, you're gonna have to include that in the will. Like, yeah, my Netflix lifetime pass, I want to go to Jimmy because he's watching Stranger Things there. And I haven't seen this idea entertained very much. I know most of these movie studios probably feel like they shouldn't do this because they would much rather you pay for it monthly and they're gonna get their money's worth that way. But if these streaming services really wanted to lock in some lifetime viewers into the point that, you can't back out of that sale. So let's just say for a second, hypothetically, Disney Plus, $7 a month, and you wanted to pay for 10 years of that. So that's 120 months. That would be $840 of Disney Plus for 10 years. So imagine if to save you money or give you some kind of discount, they just said $700 will grant you 10 years. And now, whether or not the shows are good, whether or not the shows are engaging and have you invested, you have the service paid for and they got your money. So that is like a really, really long-term commitment. And then let's go a little bit further than that. 120 months. How about 360 months? Okay, that means 30 years of Disney Plus. You'd end up spending around $2,520. And yes, the iPad does have a calculator function built into Spotlight. It's very easy. Using the iPad regularly, want a calculator? Boom, you can type in all the numbers you want there. So my question to some of you who are really, really invested in either Star Wars, Marvel, or some Netflix show, I guess Netflix, you would have to exaggerate this a lot further because the Netflix premium plans can be $15 or $18 a month. So let's just do Netflix Premium, the 4K plan for 30 years. That would have ended up being $6,480. Now, I'm well aware most people don't have that type of money, but me and my wife were talking about it and we were just like, we don't like the idea of this type of money coming out of our account every month and them just slowly chipping it away, and we know that there's no chance of us being able to actually buy this content outright. But if these services really wanted to get me and Louise on board, they would offer a lifetime pass, and lifetime could have a little fine print that says this only actually lasts 30 years, because that's long enough that, we'll be in a very different financial situation by then. But it'd be a one-time payment, and to try to convince you that you'd be saving money this way, in the case of Netflix, let's just say $6,000. You're willing to drop $6,000 on Netflix, and it means you get the 4K 4 screens plan for 30 years. And because that's such a long-term commitment, I honestly think they should just give it away for your lifetime at that point. Yes, if you were paying for it monthly, they would make more money off you, and that's probably why they won't offer this as an option. But I would feel a lot better as a consumer knowing that whatever's coming out on there, I'll have access to. And frankly, I know this sounds crazy, but especially with the case of Disney Plus, if that was like $2,000 and it was a lifetime pass, I bet a lot of people would do that. I know some real hardcore Disney fans and people who want to watch all the new Star Wars shows or all the new Marvel shows, and if they knew that they were going to continue watching those, and they might not know if they're going to give up on them in the future, or they might not be interested in the content in the future, but Netflix and Disney Plus or Discovery Plus or Hulu or whatever could really lock in that commitment, so that even if you do get bored later or decide down the road that these services aren't worth it to you and cut them off, instead they could have just secured that profit in the first place. So I think it would be very interesting, and it's probably not going to happen, but I'll go ahead and say on the record, if Netflix offered some kind of lifetime pass for $2,000, I would actually do it. But because they don't, we don't sign up for it, we don't subscribe to it, and maybe even with Disney Plus too. I know they're expensive, and I know that would be a very large upfront cost, but think about it. All the media and entertainment they could possibly release, you are going to get at no additional charge for multiple decades, or in this case particularly, like the rest of your life. Would you guys sign up for that? Or am I just crazy? Because I think that sounds really compelling, and I would probably do it because I know that there will at least be a sense of ownership of like the content on here I get to keep, it's mine, I can download it, and I kind of in a way own it because I paid the one-time fee, so I have lifetime access. I think that would be dope. What do you guys think? Feel free to let me know down below. Thanks for watching. Hope you have an excellent rest of your day. Bye-bye.